I'm going to reveal the secrets of the top 1% and what it truly takes to win. Because you see, everyone wants to be successful, but very few actually manage to do it. My goal with the Fast Lane Club is to allow you to avoid making all of the mistakes that cost you years of your life when you're getting started in business. Instead, it's time that you could have been successful, making money, enjoying your life. What you're doing outside of work matters just as much as what you do during the time that you're working, if not even more sometimes. So I'll tell you one thing, your goals, they need to become a priority for you. Because the truth is, not everyone can make it to the top 1%. Understand this, you need to get rich quick. With the prices of things skyrocketing, of basic necessities, of food, of electricity, of heating, of shelter, less and less people can afford those basic things to be able to live a decent life. We're not even speaking about the luxuries anymore, the Ferraris, the penthouses, the mansions. We're speaking about surviving, not even living. The middle class is shrinking, and soon we are going to be left with only the poor and the rich. So if you don't put in the work now, it's gonna be too late at some point. But luckily for you, there is still time. As long as you get started today and you're willing to roll up your sleeves and do the work until you actually succeed. It's crucial that you reclaim your freedom, the one that has been stolen from you by this world, and to make more money so you can protect the people that you love. So we're not just talking about making a few extra $100 a month on the side, because sure, a lot of people would take that, but let's be honest, it's not going to change your life that much. Here I'm speaking about getting to $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, hell, even $100,000 a month. That is life-changing money for you and for the people that you love. But I'll tell you one thing, if you really think you're going to become successful while you fill up your free time with video games, with Netflix, with things that don't really add any value to your life, that don't make you a better person, let me tell you that this is very unlikely. Why, you may ask? Because the simple truth is that to achieve more than 99% of the population, the road is going to be longer and harder than you think. Now, of course, it depends on what you want out of life. If you want to reach the top of the top, you want to be the greatest, of course, the level of sacrifice that you'll need to put into your craft, it's going to be completely different to the level of sacrifice you'll need to put if you simply want to get to $10,000 a month. Obviously, the higher you aim, the bigger your goals, the more ambitious you are, the more time, work, effort, money, and sacrifice you'll have to put in it to reach those goals. So I'm not saying you have to give up your entire life, never see your friends for years, and just work constantly every day, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, never taking any breaks. That is not what I'm advising. Because the truth is, very few people could actually do that. And even if you work long hours, you work really hard, exhausting yourself is not going to guarantee in any way that you will become a success. Plenty of people from all over the world, especially third world countries, they work insanely hard. Just think about the people constructing houses, either during the winter when it's extremely cold outside or during the summer when the heat is at its peak. Either way, it's working in terrible conditions. So they work really hard and long hours too, but most of them are not millionaires. Because again, what matters the most is the opportunity that you are using to make money. Some opportunities will allow you to make millions of dollars, have the time of your life, work anywhere in the world as long as you have a laptop and a steady internet connection. While other opportunities, other careers and jobs will have you stuck in one place and you'll always hit that invisible ceiling and never be able to go past it. Now, to be completely transparent with you, getting to $10,000 a month online, past a certain point, it's not as hard as people would think. It's infinitely harder to spend your entire life working a construction job, for instance, like I said, having to deal with extreme temperatures in the summer and in the winter, and in the end you won't have that much freedom or make that much money. So that's the reason why it's infinitely easier to build a cash flow business that will get you to $10,000 a month. I mean, realize this. This is an insane opportunity that we have today to make a lot of money, to build a lot of wealth, but most importantly, to reclaim our freedom. Because I'll tell you that the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs in the traditional big corporations or even conglomerates, sure, they make 6 figures a year, multiple 6 figures a year for a lot of them. So on the outside, people look at them and they see them driving a nice car to the office every day, a brand new Mercedes or Benz. So they think, oh, those people are so successful. If I only made that much money, I'd be so happy, I'd be so free. If I had that job, I'd be so happy, I'd be so free. It's that those people, they work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And even on the weekends, they're still working, taking meetings, replying to colleagues and work emails. So in the end, how much freedom do they really have? A lot of people overvalue money instead of valuing freedom. I'd rather make $100,000 a month as opposed to $1 million a month, but actually love my life, do the things that I want and have more freedom. But again, that is just my choice to make. You're free to make a completely different choice. But the truth is, if you're still watching this video right now, it's because you want a life of freedom and of abundance. Your goal is not to become the richest of the graveyard, it's to live a life that's worth living. Now let's say that you wanted to build a house. I'm sure you'd agree with me if I said that the more time, resources, and money you can invest in building that house, the faster you'd be able to get it done, right? The same is true with your goals. If you can just put more time, more effort, more energy, more money into something, building a business, getting in shape, finding a lifelong partner, you're a lot more likely to actually get what you want. Because when you work work consistently at something, at the right thing, at some point you're gonna get lucky because you will have made your own goddamn luck. In life, you need to understand that life rewards the people who refuse to settle for anything less than what they want. There's a quote that goes, "Fortune favors the bold," and I absolutely love it because to me it's really true. Every time I decided to take risks, to do more than most people, I was rewarded in consequence. And that's exactly why the people who just give up at the slightest obstacle, throw their hands at the slightest difficulty, they never get what they want because life is not going to reward those people. A lot of people say that they don't have time. They don't have the time to get in shape, to build a successful business, to go out and to meet new people, to socialize. Yet they want to make more money. They want to look better and feel better, have more energy, improve their health, find a loving and caring partner. But they're not willing to do the things required to make those things happen. And fair enough, the outcome is never completely within your control. But if you don't take any action, you stay inside of your house, you never speak to anyone, how will you find a partner? You simply won't. If you never go out there, start exercising, go running, join a CrossFit gym or a regular gym, how will you ever get in shape? If you keep eating the same foods and being sedentary, you simply won't. How will you build a multi-million-dollar business if you never actually sit down at your desk and do the boring work that you need to do? If you never take the time to educate yourself on doing it, you simply won't. So I've always found it funny how people say they don't have time to get in shape, to start a business. But those same people, somehow they find the time to spend 3 hours a day watching TV. And on the weekend, let's not even talk about it. It's like 3 times that amount. At the end of the day, it's all a matter of priorities. If you truly want to make something happen, you'll find a way, even if the odds are against you. If you read some successful people's autobiographies or you watch interviews of successful entrepreneurs, you'll find out that lots of them, they started off in bad circumstances, worse circumstances than plenty of people you know, and yet who didn't achieve that much. In reality, what a lot of people fail to realize is that it's all the small, seemingly insignificant things that steal their time and attention away from them. You would think that you died because somebody stabbed you in the heart, right? But what if instead it was all the other wounds that caused your death because together they added up, you lost so much blood you just died? That is what we call death by 1,000 cuts. It means that oftentimes the real issue, the real thing causing your troubles, preventing you from falling asleep peacefully at night, it's not so obvious. We typically see that with people that are trying to lose weight and stick to a healthier diet. They think that if they're overweight, if they've got those 20 pounds they've been struggling to lose forever, it's because they go out and they eat at the restaurant 2 times a week. But in reality, they don't take a look at their daily diet and wonder what they're doing wrong. They don't realize it's the sugary breakfast. They don't realize it's all the snacking in between meals. So unknowingly, they consume a lot more calories than their bodies need to maintain themselves. And that is why they became overweight in the first place. Not because sometimes they go out to dinner and take, let's say, a pizza or something which is a bit on the more caloric side. So people think the cause of their troubles is this big obvious thing, but in reality it's all the small, seemingly insignificant things that add up together and then cause that big issue. It's like when people have financial troubles. They think it's because they spent X amount of dollars on, let's say, a new computer. But they don't realize it's all of the small things that they spend every day. Like, let's say, a $5 Starbucks coffee that adds up, and at the end of the year, it's a few $1,000s. Now, trust me, I'm not like those people who will tell you that you need to save every dollar, every penny, and maybe one day you'll get rich. That is not a strategy. That's completely foolish. So when you're working, death by 1,000 cuts, it's all the small disruptions that destroy your focus. This could be having to get up to go get some water, plugging in your laptop because it's low battery, someone interrupting you to tell you something completely unimportant. The way to avoid this is to keep everything you need within arm's reach, like have a water bottle right next to you, a notepad and a pen. Plug in your laptop in advance so you won't have to deal with low battery. When you do this as much as possible, you anticipate potential disruptions, and that way you can ensure you'll be able to focus and get stuff done. Now, one thing that you really need to understand, and that's especially true in business, and especially if you are trying to accomplish big things, it's that loose lips sink ships. Ever since the dawn of modern civilization, men knew that they could only trust a few of their peers. Think back to the Middle Ages. Let's say you were a member of the royal court. Everyone around you had the same objective, to gain the favors of the king and to become his favorite. So naturally, this meant that every other courtier would greatly benefit from seeing you fall. Most people were far from being your friends. They looked friendly, but in reality, they were your enemy, your competition. In such an environment, spies were everywhere. You didn't know who you could trust and who you should not trust. Now think back to the Cold War or during World War II. If you made the mistake of trusting the wrong person, this could have gotten you killed and all the people that you love. And that is why you needed to be extremely careful. And fair enough, for most of us nowadays in the modern world, we don't have to live those things. We're not in the royal court trying to gain the favors of the king, or we're not living in a constant state of war and chaos. But the same rule still applies. Loose lips still sink ships. In business, the higher you climb, the more money you make, the more status you get, the more people will try to make make you fall, because there's a dozen hungry competitors who want to take your spot. So if you're not careful, if you rest on your laurels, you think you've got it, you don't need to work anymore, to learn anything anymore. Trust me when I say a hungry competitor will take your spot, and this will be your fall from grace. And that is exactly why you are never going to see me sharing my goals publicly, and I advise that you do the same, that you keep your goals to yourself, and if you want to share them, then only share them with the few people around you who are really close and you know you can trust those people because they've proven themselves to you time and time again. Because the truth is, most people don't want to see you achieving greatness. You know the saying, right? They want to see you do well but never better than them. Because to be honest, it takes a very open-minded teacher to stand the feeling of being surpassed by their students. And business is an ongoing competition. If you can provide a service or a product and make it better than the competition, the customers will flock to you. No one wants to buy subpar options. So for that reason, you need to stay extremely careful of who you let in your inner circle, who you trust, who you share things with. Not to mention the fact that plenty of studies have actually discovered that people who share their goals publicly are actually a lot less likely to achieve them. Why, you may ask? Because they receive a lot of dopamine from the simple fact of announcing what they're going to achieve, how they're going to do it, and what they're going to do exactly. So instead of rolling up their sleeves, doing the work, they trick their brain into receiving dopamine as if they had achieved that thing, when that couldn't be further from the truth. They still have a long way to go. Understand this, your brain doesn't care about your goals at all. All it cares about is ensuring your survival. And of course, what better way to do that than to prevent you from taking any risks? Because your brain has no clue what could come out of it. The unknown has always scared human beings, and that's often why we tolerate the pain that we feel right now, and we don't go towards an opportunity which could give us a better future, because who knows, for all we know, that opportunity could only end up bringing more pain. So at least with the pain that we're feeling now, we're familiar with it, and that's typically why people stay in abusive, toxic relationships, because they are familiar with that pain. And the unknown, because it's unknown, could bring a lot more pain. So it's the safer option to stay with that pain because you're familiar with. You know it's not going to get much worse. And let's be honest, how many people talk and talk about what they're going to do, but they never actually go out there and do it? If you want to be successful, you must not be like those people. Now in business, you need to understand that you have to move with speed. Now I get that when you look at bigger competitors, it really looks like they're 1,000 years in front of you. So you wonder, how could I even compete with them? How could I ever get to that level? Why would people buy from me if they can instead buy from those big competitors who have been in the space for like a decade or so? It's easy to stay stuck and to get very discouraged if you're always focusing on what the competition is doing, and particularly if they are ahead of you because they have been doing it for longer than you have. But you need to realize one thing: winners focus on winning, while losers focus on winners. Michael Jordan isn't busy trying to figure out how the lead of the other team is working, how he's practicing, what's his routine like. He doesn't care about any of that. He's focused on himself, on bettering his game, on learning more about the game, and just going out there in the field and practicing, improving his techniques. Because all that time, if he were to focus it on another guy, what he's doing, how he's training, what he's eating, how he's sleeping, it's time and energy that instead he couldn't put into bettering himself. And that's how he can win every time. Jeff Bezos is focused on getting the customer the best possible service, the fastest delivery, and also the cheapest products available, the widest range of products available. And that is why he wins every single time. And it's for a reason that they are the leading e-commerce platform in the world. So by focusing on the customer, he crushes this competition every single time. Because other people, instead of making better products, they're too busy looking at what he's doing. And that is also why you need to learn to ditch analysis paralysis. A lot of people make fun of perfectionism. They think it's not a real flow. They say there is no such thing as trying to do things too perfectly. But let me tell you that when you are a real perfectionist, it absolutely is a massive flaw. And in fact, one that could cost you everything if you don't seriously find a way to control that flaw. So if you yourself are a perfectionist, trust me, I know what it's like. I'm one myself. You need to stop allowing yourself to think that you need to do things perfectly before you can actually put them out there in the world. If you are going to release a product, just do it even if it's imperfect, because at least you'll learn from the feedback of the market, and now you'll be able to make changes which your customers will actually appreciate. Stop giving in into excuses that say, oh, I'll do it later. Done and imperfect is better than perfect but never done. And there is no such thing as perfection. The whole concept of perfection is completely flawed, because we can always make things better. If you look back at work that you did a couple years ago, you'll cringe at it, even if at the time it was great or seemed great. And that's good news. It means you have evolved. If you don't look back and you don't cringe at what you did, you haven't evolved. So what are you doing? Honestly, analysis paralysis, perfectionism, not getting started, not taking your chances, it's exactly what kills the millions and even billions of dreams. It's not a lack of intelligence, of skill, or even of talent. So do yourself a favor and start doing something. Anything, as long as it gets you closer to getting what you want. Now we talked about the fact that loose lips sink ships, and that is why you need to be extremely careful of who you surround yourself with in your inner circle. And that is especially true when it comes to the partner that is going to share your life with you. There's a quote that many have heard. It's that behind every successful man, there's a woman. However, that is only the first part of the quote. The real quote is the following: behind every successful man is a woman, and behind every unsuccessful man, there are two. At the end of the day, if you truly want to live a life which is incredible, a life that most people dream of but will never obtain because they're not willing to make the sacrifices, you'll have to say no to a lot of things, to put some areas of your life on hold for a bit, to say no to parties, to hanging out, to having fun, to hookups, because all that time, energy that you invest in partying, hooking up, playing video games, watching Netflix, all those things, it's time and energy that you can't put into becoming a better version of yourself and building a thriving online business. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to realize that the more things are going on in your personal life, the more it's going to distract you from your actual goal. Success, greatness is going to demand a lot out of you. The more extraordinary you want your life to be, the more dedicated you'll have to be, and the more sacrifices you'll have to make. That is how the game is played. No one can escape that. And the right people in your life will make your life completely amazing. They'll help you to achieve your goals so much faster than if you were all alone, for the simple reason being they will be your greatest source of motivation. Because it's easy to let yourself down, to not do the things that you said you were going to do, because only you will know about it. But if you feel like you're letting down the people that you love the most on this planet, it's a horrible feeling, so you'll do what you need to do regardless of how you feel. But at the same time, the opposite is also true. If you surround yourself with the wrong people, you will spend your entire life wasting away your potential, wondering, dreaming about all the things you could have been and could have done, but never did. That is not a way to live. It's horrible, it's torture. Most people waste so much time on the things that don't actually help them to move forward. I'll personally never understand how people, they can actually spend hours every day on social media arguing with complete strangers about trivial things, sometimes about video games to give you an example. They're arguing about pixels on a screen. Seriously. Instead they could read a book, go to the gym, spend time with the people that they love, work on their business. But no, instead it's much better to just waste a bunch of time arguing with strangers, stuff that has nothing to do with your actual life. And most people keep entertaining relationships, habits, and behaviors that keep them stuck exactly where they don't want to be, and then they're surprised and they complain that they don't have the things that they want in life. Come on, no one can cheat the law of cause and effect. You do an action, you'll have to face a consequence. If you do something stupid, most likely, the consequence you'll have to face won't be that great. The choice is yours at the end of the day. So you need to realize right now that no one is coming to save you. Some people will try to help you in your journey, because not everyone is out there to get you. But if you don't take responsibility for your own life, for your own results, you'll never achieve anything and you will never go anywhere. Your dreams will die with you. Now there's a little secret I've used to get so much more done than most people and to move a lot faster than my competition, and that is to enter into seriously focused work sessions and to cut out all of the things which have nothing to do with my goals and all of the distractions. When I do this, I'm able to get so much more done. I can do in one day what it takes most people a week to do. I'm not even joking. But of course, because it's very intense, you can't be spending the entire year doing that. It has to be done in periods. Like you could take 3 weeks of intense deep work and then a week off, because if you do it for long enough, it's going to burn you out. That's a guarantee. So it's a powerful weapon that you have in your arsenal, but you need to learn to use it correctly. Like I said, sometimes when I have a big important work project, all I do is work. And the only reason why I'm able to actually work so hard, it's because I have a deep, powerful reason why I'm doing things. But like I said, what I've personally found is that it's easier to have periods of deep, intense, focused work, where working is all you do pretty much, and you make a lot of progress, and then you take a break, and you can do whatever you like. But like I said, obviously, we are not machines. We can't be doing that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months and years on end. At some point, you'll break. It's good to do 2 weeks and then 1 week off.